Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bill, your host, bringing you yet another episode of Umpteenth Time Hearing, where I'm putting out a new artist each week, generally lesser-known music from the 1980s era, give or take a few years on the ends there, perhaps. And this is music that's been kind of rattling around in the back of my head all these years, and generally lesser-known music, obscure songs, or sometimes more mainstream artists that fit a particular mood or a theme that I have going on the program. And that's the case here, where it's the 5th week of October, the 5th Monday of the month, and I've been running 5 weeks of Halloween-ish, kind of vaguely-ish themed music over the course of the last few weeks. Whether it was just the mood of the music, or the lyrics themselves, or even just the song title, which is what's going on with this week's show. This week, it's a real banger. Great artist, The Cult, doing Spirit Walker from their debut album Dreamcatcher going back to 1981. Now, spirits sure are a Halloween type of thing, but Spirit Walker really is much more about shamanism and an interest in Native American culture. Regardless, though, even though it's a real stretch to call it a Halloween song, I had to put it in with this month because it was only just a couple weeks ago, as I was doing on the program on Bauhaus, that I discovered sort of a tenuous connection to The Cult. They don't, that I'm aware of, have any overlapping band members, and that I'm aware of, neither band has covered the other's music. But I didn't discover The Cult and the song Spirit Walker from their album, which was out in 81, as I mentioned. In 1985, a compilation mix album was put out, not one of those mixtape you make in your dorm room, but an actual official release, a lesser-known compilation album called The Vertigo Sampler. As I've mentioned before, I'm not a musicologist. I don't know much about music, and I know even less about the industry. So, for me, the title Vertigo Sampler, I was like, what's a vertigo? How do you sample a vertigo? I had no idea what the album title meant. Oh, Vertigo is a record label. Brilliant. I'm sure plenty of you out there who knew that already. And so this is just a compilation of different artists from their catalog. Of course, it has The Cult, as I mentioned. It's got some really interesting music on it, too. There's 2 different songs by the Boomtown Rats, neither of which is I Don't Like Mondays. There's a song from Dexy's Midnight Runners that is not Come On Eileen. A couple of instrumentals from Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. And some more well-known songs like ABC's Be Near Me. There's a remix of Tears for Fears' Mad World. And then also a live version of Big Country doing In a Big Country. But in addition to The Cult doing Spirit Walker, the 2 preceding tracks in that order on the album are the spin-off bands from Bauhaus. They're not in the order that the bands were formed on the album. It's Love and Rockets, Tones on Tail, and then The Cult, which is not Bauhaus, but just tied in. Tones on Tail was the first one that was formed out of Bauhaus while they were still active. Was just a spin-off band. And then during one of Bauhaus's breakups, when they were trying to get back together, and lead singer, whose name I'm drawing a blank on now, Peter Murphy, I want to say, but I could be messing that up, didn't show up. And so the remaining band members formed Love and Rockets. So finding out that I've been listening to these 3 artists in a row on this album for decades and not knowing that the other 2 were Bauhaus, and having just done Bauhaus, I had to put The Cult Spirit Walker on here, even though it's not all that Halloween-ish. But if you haven't heard of the Vertigo Sampler, it's kind of tough to find. It might be worth checking out. Some really interesting music. And we're going to get to one of those songs in just a moment. But before I do that, hey, if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe and the like buttons, share the program with your friends. Be sure to ring that post notification bell so you can find out each week when I put a new artist out. As always, I have the lyrics in the top pinned comment below, along with some other artist information, including the band's official website. The Cult is still active, and if you're in England hearing this, they are touring in England during October and November, so check out their website. You might be able to catch them live. And don't forget, always interested in hearing your comments, so any thoughts you have about the program or the artist, add them to the comments below. But for now, before I get any more tongue-tied, now that's irony, he's twisting up the words tongue-tied. Before I get any more tongue-tied, let's go right into it. This is The Cult with Spirit Walker. Oh, yes, The Cult and Spirit Walker. Great tune. Ian Astbury really has some pipes on him. And if you think he looks a little bit vaguely familiar, well, it's not the same person. And I haven't fact-checked this, but my understanding is that Oliver Stone was considering him, and he was even offered the role of Jim Morrison in the movie The Doors, which is why he might look a little familiar, because he certainly looks like Jim Morrison. Evidently, Ian turned it down because he didn't like the way the character was written. Not sure if that's true, but certainly looks the part. As I understood it, back at the time that the movie The Doors came out, I remember hearing or reading about Michael Hutchence of INXS also being interested in that role. A couple of musicians interested in, of course, playing a musician. Both kind of looked like him, but of course, in the end, the role went to Val Kilmer. So anyway, The Cult. As is true with a lot of the bands that have been around for decades, there have been a great many changes in the lineup. They've been on hiatus here and there. There are a few iconic bands that you don't really see that kind of turnover in the lineup. You know, the Rolling Stones, U2, REM while they were together. Then there's lots and lots of others where if they manage to stay together for this many years, you just got that constant turnover. I think most often of The Cure when I think of that, because even when I saw them in concert in the 80s, they'd already had all kinds of changeovers. But The Cult is still active. As I mentioned before the song there, check out their website if you're in England and you like them. They are touring right now, October and into November. So by all means, get a chance, check them out. So before I wrap up here, I'm curious to find out, is there anyone out there who remembers the Vertigo sampler? I mean, it's not like it was top of the charts here in the U.S. It's not like it was on the charts here in the U.S. And I don't even know, really, I didn't look up the numbers as to how many copies sold around the world, where they sold. So I'm just curious if anyone remembers it. Or if there's other artists that you discovered from some sort of compilation album or maybe even movie soundtrack. Chime in with those. Let's find out what those are. I mean, when I played Lick the Tins a number of weeks back, I only knew them from the soundtrack to Some Kind of Wonderful. Of course, they only put out one album before they folded in a few years, and the Cult's been around a lot longer than that. But anyway, in the coming weeks, I'm going to change the tone up a bit here. You know, we've been through 5 weeks of Halloween-ish themed music, and I'm going to lighten the mood. Some lighter, generally folk type of songs, not all, but a couple of them. And for 3 weeks with those, I'm going to be looking at songs that address gender issues or gender identity in some way. At the same time, kind of poking fun at some of those issues that come up around those topics. So if you want to find out, well, I'll give you a hint. The first artist is the vaguest of hints, but hey, maybe some of you will be able to figure it out. The first artist I'm going to be presenting next week, she is a folk singer who has, between 1981 and the year 2000 and 2020, put out 27 albums. And the thing is, I only know her for the one song. I mean, I don't listen to all that much folk, some, but this was a song that I picked up along the way. I'll explain that, who the artist is, and everything you need to know about her when we get there. Tune in next week for that, but for now, I'm Bill. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, as always, may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Have yourselves a great day. Bye now.